You've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, but have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo or honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker out there, you can try spicy ghost pepper, only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. Listen, I'm going to dare you to do it. I dare you. That's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs that you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and then grab a few more napkins and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
And we are back with another episode of The Bearcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Andy. Along with me is my co-host, Rob, and we have a special guest today, Zach Angelillo, former fullback, now proud graduate of the University of California, Berkeley. I should say before we start, we are, of course, a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. How could I forget? Don't forget to hustle. When you hustle, make sure to bring your Blue Wire, and that makes Blue Wire hustle. Even though we're not being sponsored by that today, I'll still mention it because we're trying to get some bonus points from the overlords.
From the mothership.
From the mothership. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. I'm going to mute myself here in a second. Zach, what is going on? You want to give us like a quick hello, life update, status update? What are you up to?
How you guys doing? Appreciate you guys having me on first and foremost. Definitely been wanting to connect with you guys for a while and grateful for the opportunity. I think, people that know me know that I recently decided to enter the transfer portal. I'm going to be graduating this summer and just looking for a new home to get a master's degree and keep playing ball. And just wanted to come on and say, kind of not really my goodbyes because I'm always going to be a Bear, but just to talk to the Cal fans and all that, and just kind of express my gratitude and give a little capstone on my time here and all that. So I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to do so.
I have a question to start. Like we talked to guys before they announced they're going into the portal. We've talked to guys after they've exited the portal. This is the first time I think anyone's talking to someone that is currently in the portal. What is it like being in the portal? Is it a dark place? Like, do they serve you food? Like, what is it like being inside the portal? Like, it's so mysterious to us.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know exactly what to expect going in, but now that I'm in it, I will tell you, I feel like 17-year-old Zach Angelillo again, going through high school recruiting. It's really very, very simple. I mean, I've only been in for 7 days, but so far, I'm just like, yeah, I remember Twitter DMing a coach in my bedroom in my parents' house in Fresno. Like, that's literally what it feels like. And it's really just kind of like the same thing so far. And I will say, I think the coaches are a little bit more straightforward now because to my understanding, when coaches are looking for grad transfers or transfers, they kind of have an idea of like, okay, we need a guy to come in and like be able to play immediately because what their mindset is we don't have the time to develop, a 17 or 18-year-old. I'll be 22 by the time I go to my next school, and I'm a grown man. So I think the mindset of these coaches is they have a very particular plan with, okay, we need a fullback, we need a receiver, we need a quarterback now. So it's not as much of like a string along type thing as high school recruiting can be, where they just kind of want to keep you interested. I think now they're kind of like, we're interested in you, like, let's see what you got. Let's see what we can do here. So in my experience, it is kind of like going back to high school recruiting, but it's a little more adult, I guess you would say, as far as like the communication goes, which is appropriate. So, yeah.
Are you in there as a fullback or a linebacker or whatever, like places want you to play?
I'll say this. I believe that I'm better suited as a fullback. And I believe that that's where I can help teams, win games and be a difference maker. So I'm trying to play fullback, and that can include an H-back kind of tight end hybrid role a little bit too. It doesn't have to be a traditional, I formation fullback, but on the offensive side of the ball.
Sweet. Andy, you got anything about the transfer portal or his position and such?
Yeah, I'm going to ask all the dumb questions and then just feel free to, opt out of them. So,
opting out, the phrase of the past couple months.
If there's exactly. If there's anything that I'm saying that you don't want to touch on, you feel free to just be like,
for sure.
No, thanks. But I'm curious, when it comes to how this all works, just from an outsider's perspective, is this something where you looked at particular grad programs at Cal and then were like, I don't see a path, maybe they didn't have that for you at Cal, and that's when you decided to leave? Or was it, hey, I might want to just go to try something different, shift the environment? Like, what was a little bit more into the decision that, you decided to hop into this mysterious world of the portal?
Yeah, frankly, it didn't have anything to do with the academics. And as much as I wish, as much as you guys would probably wish for a juicy story about the conversations with the coaches and all that, it's just not appropriate to be public information. And I know you guys understand that, but I think, to boil it down, it just came down to, putting myself in the best position to succeed. And the coaches couldn't have been better to me about that. And, there's a great deal of mutual respect between us. They want nothing but the best for me. I want nothing but the best for the program. I'm looking out for myself, and it's a business decision for myself. And they understand that, and they were very, forthright with me about, things that were going to happen. And so I couldn't have asked for a better way for it to go down. And of course, there's a little bit of disappointment, I think, on both of our ends, honestly. But it's just, this is how it's working out. And the coaches have been amazing to me. The teammates have been amazing to me. They've been by my side for the past 3 years, and nothing's changed between us. And, it is what it is. College football is a business. You can say it all you want, but that's what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me hit you with another one.
Yeah.
Back in 2019, I tweeted out that we had no quarterback. Did Garber see that tweet and or listen to this podcast?
He saw it, and he mentioned you by name. You're on his bad word list. I'm kidding. Yeah, he texted me. He said, before you go on the podcast, make sure you let him know I hate his guts. But,
excellent. Awesome.
None of the above happened.
So, plus or minus 5 of current players that listen to this podcast.
Every single one of us listen to it. I don't know what you're talking about. What a horrible question. We actually what we do is we listen to it in the locker room before practice. So it's you guys are actually bulletin board material, just in case you didn't know.
Perfect. I mean, that's
if you say something bad about one of us, everybody talks about it, and it breaks our hearts.
So is it a situation where if we say something good about someone, they just kind of slowly back, like the Simpsons meme, like they just back away because they're being said something nice about themselves?
So you guys are in for a real treat, because we call that rat poison. So anytime you say something good about one of us, it's like, oh, don't listen to that. That's outside noise. And if you say something bad about us, we hate you. So it's like, you can't win, so don't try to.
Damn.
Wait,
wow.
What? Why do I know the rat poison reference? What was that from? That was damn it. I should know this. I'm embarrassed that I even said that out loud.
Saban.
Anyways. Saban.
I'm pretty sure it's Saban. Yeah. Actually, no, it's Justin Wilcox, but yeah. Well, actually, Wilcox does say it too, but it's, I think the term rat poison is Saban, but Wilcox, Coach Wilcox likes to say it as well. And it's true. I mean, it's true, but yeah.
Can't listen to the good stuff, huh?
Yeah, you guys have a thankless job, so I hope. But thank you for your service.
we're in a lose-lose situation anyways, I guess we might as well keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
If anything, when Cal wins the national championship, we can say that all the negative things we've said spurred them to get to this point.
I love that you said win, because it's going to happen. And I 100% believe that.
It's there.
It's there. We're not putting a time on it, but it's there.
It's there.
And no, I'm kidding. You guys are great. We love everyone that, says nice things about us, but we don't like hearing the nice things. So
I still take credit for us winning the 2019 big game, because ever since I came on and went ham after that North Texas game, we had a whole different quarterback situation.
So where were you during the Cheez-It Bowl?
I was in the press box. Oh man, I was there in person. How do you think I developed who I am today?
The Cheez-It Bowl is the single best day of my life. I'll say that.
Were you just like, well, yeah, let's talk about that. So let's break open the Cheez-It Bowl.
Do we want to go there? Why do we want to go there?
Everyone wants to go there.
Everyone wants to go there.
I mean, you guys know Big Cat on Twitter. Like, if you just there's National Cheez-It Bowl Day thanks to him. So that's just it's a real treat. Every time it comes around, I'm like, yeah, I was there. And like my group chat with my cousins, like they'll sometimes just be like, hey, do you guys remember the Cheez-It Bowl? And I'm just like, thanks, guys. Like. I was literally a redshirting freshman. Like I wasn't even dressed out. I was just like sitting on the sideline watching this and being like, "What is going on?" Like, I honestly had no words. But it's the single most electric game of college football that ever be played.
That's actually somewhat comforting that a football player watching the game on the sideline felt exactly the same way of us sitting in the press box. It's just what is going on here.
What was it? 7 interceptions?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was just at some point I think everybody kind of
2019 big game, we won that. That was great. We got that.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
What do you make of Dancy already saying that the Axe is coming back to Berkeley next year?
Marcel Dancy is maybe one of the he is one of the most driven and passionate individuals I've had the pleasure of knowing. And if he puts his mind to something, he's going to get it. So, Marcel saying that, it's not just for Twitter. I'll tell you, he is probably right now doing push-ups or something, getting ready to carry that rock and score the winning touchdown. So you guys should have him on. Honestly, he's amazing. We're, really good friends, and we're actually working this youth camp right now. And, it's safe. Don't worry. We have the masks and the distancing, and we're outside. But we're working this youth camp with several of the other guys. Coins out there, Tino's out there, and Alex in the third is actually running it. And he's not leaving Berkeley. So, Cell's awesome. So I'm always going to be a Cal Bears fan, and I'm definitely going to be tune in for that big game next year. Excited to see the guys ball out.
I mean, if we're talking about previous games, might as well. I need to ask this too. The Washington game last year, like the thunderstorms, the break, however long, like give me your perspective on it. Like, what was it like? Just we got the the Cal players at the podium, like, we just tried to stay ready and all that. But like as a real player, like in that locker room for God knows how long, when you don't even know if the game's actually going to be like played out, down the line or not, like what was happening in there? Like, you don't need to give us the details because I don't want you to, to break the code of the team and your teammates and your friends. But just from like you, like just being in there and all that.
So this isn't the answer you want to hear because I don't have any information on it because I actually wasn't even on the travel roster for that game. So I was in my apartment in Berkeley. I was like literally just like sitting on my couch. I got like a pizza and I was like ready to watch. But yeah, I didn't make the travel squad for that game.
So then for you, were you there just like sitting there like just waiting?
Oh, I stayed up the whole time. I was like, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Like even if I wasn't on the travel squad for that particular game, which, my freshman year I didn't travel at all. And then my redshirt freshman year, I traveled. I was, off and on.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like, can we bring Zach along? All right, cool. So I wasn't on it for UW, and I was, intently watching. It didn't change the channel. I was waiting for them to get back going. And, I was thinking to myself, I was like, when do they call it? Wait, what time? I was like, what time do they have to be like, this just is not going to happen? But, it happened, and that was awesome. So that was pretty exciting. It was exciting. It was unique. Cal football, I will go to my grave defending, has had the most unique, games since, I don't know if that's since forever, but even if you think about the play, stuff like that, I don't know what it is. It's just, it gets freaky in Berkeley or wherever Berkeley is, but
yes,
yeah.
About that Arizona, the Hail Mary in Arizona, the big game this year. I mean, just always, man, always.
Yeah.
It just sort of follows you your whole life.
Who knows?
It never leaves. Well, Zach, let's move on a little bit in the conversation. You talked about doing that youth camp with the kids, but when the pandemic hit and all of you guys were kind of forced to go home or stay in the area, without football, up in limbo, really, right, for a while before they said it was canceled. Then they said it wasn't canceled, and then you guys got back and started practicing and all that stuff. But you were highlighted a bit with all the community service work that you did back in your hometown, and it also, I read that you organized a march for social injustice while you were down there as well. Talk about how that went about and how it came to fruition.
Yeah, which one do you want to hear about first?
Let's talk about the social injustice, because that's what you study. That's what you're studying to finish, or you're going to finish studying at Cal in a couple of months. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, it's just important to acknowledge that we as a country are facing a lot of social injustice and issues that really we've been in for before any of us were born. And I think certain political and certain world events have brought those to light, or maybe just brought our attention to them more. And I think that coming to Cal and deciding what I want to study, which is the impact of American public policy on race and social inequality, I felt very outraged, honestly, about everything that was going on, and just having the thought of seeing all these people being murdered, and seeing the injustice in our country, and seeing people defend that injustice too, and thinking this could be my friend. It hurt me as someone that would never have to face those injustices. And I think, to me, it was kind of like a wake-up call a little bit to think, hey, dude, this is what you're studying. Why are you just sitting on Twitter and watching it? And I just kind of was like, all right. So I called Elon Page, who's a trainer and mentor in Fresno, and I had called him multiple times throughout that whole event, talking to him, just picking his brain and trying to gain his perspective. And we eventually kind of came to the conclusion, we were like, let's do something. And at first it was kind of like, Elon had the idea. He said, maybe we do a prayer vigil. I was like, okay, that's good. And then I said, maybe we, gather, athletes from the area. Cause I was in Fresno at the time. I said, maybe we gather athletes in the area and we discuss, how are we going to respond? What are we going to do? And, it just kind of came out, and I was like, let's do something bigger. Let's hold a protest. Let's hold an event, and let's have a public display of solidarity. And we're gonna limit our actions to being, verbal, and we're gonna have people speak, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna work this out, and we're gonna do what we're gonna, what we're setting out to do is we're coming to have a conversation, and we're coming to gain understanding and knowledge, and by no means was this me thinking I'm going to come out here and educate all these people. What I wanted was to go out and be educated and be, open-minded and open-eared and have an open heart and listen to what these people have to say and listen to what everybody, what people are going through mentally, physically. And, Elon did an amazing job. He has some great connections in Fresno, and we got a lot of people together. I don't remember the exact head count for like everybody that showed up, but we had it organized with Fresno PD, and it was really just it was inspirational. And, for me, being able to listen to people come up and speak, and, I had the opportunity to speak as well and share a little bit about what I study and what inspired me to kind of, get involved in this. And I think the overarching message of everything that we were trying to do was we see so much hate and we see so much division in our country that we need to start building unity if we want to see any progress. And not only that, but we need to fight against people that are, stoking that division and that hate. And it's by no means is it over now. And that's something that's kind of been on my mind lately is like, hey, what's the follow-up here? You know what I mean? Okay, we have a new president in office. We have, a little bit less, we're seeing a little bit less about what's going on. I'm not seeing as many videos as I was in June and July. And, I'm glad that I'm not seeing as many videos, but I don't think that means that they're not there, if that makes sense.
Yep. And
that's been on my mind heavy lately is just, what to do next. But, yeah, as far as what we did do though, is we had some amazing people, athletes, law enforcement, military, teachers, educators, education administrators, come up and share their experiences, share their knowledge, kind of open up their hearts a little bit. And it was moving to me. I honestly can't tell you how much that just being one small, tiny part in that whole event meant to me. And having the opportunity to listen to those people is priceless. And that's impacted me. I can't be more grateful for my education at Cal, but that real world experience definitely played a big part in my, holistic education and what I'm trying to learn and what I'm trying to do. And it was an amazing experience. So that's, I honestly wish that we could have had that same event, with the team and with, everybody, honestly. I can't think of a person that, wouldn't benefit from attending that. And not because of anything that I did, but because of the collective, compassion and the collective wealth of knowledge that was shared there.
So as you started to plan this and create it, knowing just from my experiences with Fresno, so I'll obviously play a little bit more of like an ignorant role too, but I know Fresno a little bit, and I know that Fresno is very different than Oakland or Berkeley or San Francisco in regards to, one, if you look at the demographic makeup of the city, it's quite different, and then two, if you look at the way that it leans from a maybe just electoral standpoint, it's very different. So did you face resistance and continued resistance from that? Like, have you had or the awkward conversations that I think every single one of us has had with those that have different views? And what did you find was successful in maybe bringing unity, and then maybe what wasn't successful in that? And I realize I asked you like 4 questions in one, but so feel free to take any of them.
I got them all. I'll say this. I think as far as having difficult conversations with people about topics of race, about topics of injustice, about topics of events that we see and things that happen in our world that are polarizing or are spun politically to be polarizing, I think having a basic understanding of, we have to have a baseline of what we see as unjust or just. And before a conversation can happen, you have to be operating on the same plane there. Because I could go and tell someone that was unjust, and they go, no, it's not. And then the conversation from there, am I trying to, change their mind about what's going on? And that's not necessarily to say that, their mind can't be changed, but it definitely has to have a baseline understanding of, are we going to have a conversation, or am I going to be the old man yelling at the clouds here, trying to change your mind on something that you just have no interest in listening to me? So I think budgeting your mental energy in having those conversations with the people that are what I like to call on the fence, where they say, I didn't like that this happened, but X, Y, Z, there's an excuse. There's, okay, well, let's talk about it then. What do you see as what justified that? Okay, well, let's approach it from that angle. Let's have a discussion. But, frankly, I'm not going to be in the business of changing people's morality, and I think that's an extremely difficult task. And more power to you if you're able to do that for somebody. But to me, that's, in many cases, it's just unrealistic. So I think I think it's more effective to find the people that are on the fence, or that just need to be, I don't like to use the word persuaded, but like to be educated on, the realities of situations, and discussing it with those people is far more effective. So that's what I'll say as far as having those conversations with people that are, might disagree or have, a little bit different viewpoint on things. And I by no means think I'm an expert on any of this either. So if they have a point of view and, they're able to teach me something, whether it's about the law, whether it's about, how certain, how certain policy affects certain situations, I'd love to hear that as well. And I have my beliefs, and, I think my moral beliefs are pretty firm. But if it has to do with a legal belief, or not a legal belief, a legal fact, I'd love to hear it. And then the conversation from there can be, well, is this law just? Is this producing, an environment where people are being valued, where, everybody's life is being valued, where people are being put in the position to be successful, to be happy? And so, the conversations as far as that goes, it can be hit or miss. I'm not going to lie to you. You can open up to somebody, and they can just have no interest in listening to what you have to say. And that's a very sad reality. But I think like you said, we're all having those conversations with people, and that happens. So, I wish that there would be certain situations where we could all agree, but it's just not the reality, and I hope one day it can be, but that's why we're working on this now, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Well said. I think what you've done and continue to be able to do, especially by, as you sort of evolved from initial conversation to potentially having a group discussion to saying, no, like this needs to be out there. People need to see this. That's, to me, I think that's the power of it, is regardless of whether or not we're able to have that conversation, the hope is that conversation is maybe just by two people that drove by or two people that read about it in the news, and then that conversation is happening in a place that maybe otherwise it wouldn't. And that can kind of create that curiosity. So I won't wax any more political on this than I already have, but I just wanted to say, like, hats off to you, man. It's really impressive to do it at that age. I just wasn't even concerned. Not to make a comparison, but yeah, you're doing great things, so keep it up.
I thank you. I appreciate that, but I tweet it with anything I do, with whether it was working with a food bank or whether it was working in this, but I'm just one small piece in a collective effort. And really I've never wanted it to be like, I never wanted it to be really a pat on my back. I appreciate you saying that, but it really just has so much to do with, the community. And I really love Fresno, and I want, some of the things that we talked about, I know aren't, might not be the most popular opinion here. And I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I think there's a lot of great things about Fresno, but just as a whole, I'm just grateful to be able to play just a small role in everything.
Let's can we talk about your time, volunteering for a little bit as well? Just handing out food and to families in need and people in need during the time of the pandemic. What was that experience like for you, and how did that? I'm trying to figure out how to formulate this question in my head so it doesn't sound like an elementary school question, but how did like your experience seeing firsthand how, especially in this case, right, where public policy played such a huge factor in a lot of these people being displaced or unable to make ends meet throughout this pandemic? Like, did that strengthen? Did that just reinvigorate you in like what you're studying and want to pursue that and push the agenda, with what you're studying even more?
It did, and I think the main takeaway from that experience to me was just being grateful for, the privilege that I had to be able to be in a position to be helping people and not being, looking for help. And I mean that in a humble way, but, being in the position to be able to be of service, and having the ability to go out and, spend time giving back to the community, that it meant a lot to me because I saw people there that were, struggling, and that was very moving to me personally. And I know it was to everybody that volunteered there. And, my lifelong best friend, Austin, he goes to the University of San Diego. He's pre-med. He's going to do amazing things. He's going to be an orthopedic surgeon. And I always tell him, I'm like, hey, when I start getting creaky and older, or, after playing football, you're going to take care of me, dude. But I texted him. I was like, hey, well, Elon actually, Elon and I did a lot of stuff together, from I was home over quarantine, but Elon was the one who connected me with that. And he was like, hey, we're coming out on Saturday mornings. You should come out. I was like, all right, cool. And I texted Austin. I was like, hey, you're coming out with me. This is going to be, we're going to go out here and we're going to make a difference. And, Austin's great. He's jumped on that opportunity too. And we went out there, and it was humbling to see all these people, lining up even like 30 minutes before we were even set up to get some groceries. And what was really encouraging about it though was we started by getting donations from the Central Valley Food Bank, and that was like the main stuff the main like food we were able to give out. But then after like a couple weeks, we started to get more donations, and some of it would be from like local businesses and like grocery stores and stuff like that. So when they first started coming out, we would only have, maybe 2 bags of groceries, like some dry pasta, like that kind of stuff. And then after, a couple weeks, we were giving them, that Central Valley Food Bank bag, and then like some fresh fruit and, all kinds of stuff, and just seeing people in the community step up. And it really is just that, collective effort. Everybody's just playing their one small piece in that collective effort. And it was inspiring to see, how we as a community in Fresno were able to come together and fight that battle. But also, disheartening to see that so many people were going through it, like really, really bad. And I spoke about it in a interview previously, but one part of that experience that really touched me was it was the end of the morning when we were passing out food, and we had run out of food, and there was 1 car left, and it was just like, brutal. You know what I mean? And because they'd been waiting in that car for 25 minutes, and just, I wasn't the one to go and talk to them and figure out the plan from there, but it was, the look on their faces, I'm not going to forget that.
Man, it's we live in difficult circumstances right now, and I think a lot of us sometimes take it for granted that we're in privileged situations, and that's not to like say we're the lucky ones, but it's just I think even more so because we're in those circumstances, as Zach, you said, we have to be more willing to help and to reach out a helping hand. I think that's key right now.
Yeah, 100%. And I think to me, really, I feel like my mentality with all this stuff is just due to how I was raised by my parents, and they're both very giving people. They're very, they go out and whether it's working with nonprofits or, donating their time or resources or anything, they're very involved in stuff they're passionate about, and, they've raised me to be that way. And one thing that's, stuck with me is how they teach, they taught me from a young age, if you have the ability to do something, it's your responsibility to do it. So it just, and I feel that way about, everything. And I think that's the mentality to have is, we're all here to serve some purpose, and, finding a way to use your gifts and use your time wisely to help other people, I think is one of the best ways to do that.
Man, I don't know how to like pivot or move on from that. Andy, you got anything?
You guys want to talk about the Cheese Bowl again? No, I'm kidding. Got to lighten it a little bit.
No, I think it's all great, and just really, if it's been one of those things that's not talked about a lot, but food insecurity is really high. So and all these things, like the fact that you're seeing it in person makes me reflect. Because I remember dropping off stuff down in Emeryville, and I was super uncomfortable because there's so many people out, and social distancing. Some people don't have masks on. Like, look, like it's a different world in the sense of like not everyone can afford a mask, not everybody has a mask. Other people were just on the corner, and it's unnerving to me. But then to also have the experience of you talking about how unnerving it is to see that and to see those people and to understand it at that level, it's a really important perspective to have. So I appreciate you for sharing that. And it's a great conversation to be having right now. So thanks for, being able to bring that to us.
Yeah, absolutely.